Vincenzo's Go Crypto Investing this February the 6th, 2025. Daily cryptocurrency, XRP, blockchain technology, altcoin, and gold and silver bullion video you've come to expect, love, need, and deserve. And if you want to become members of Jabroni Killers, it's in the video description below or the pinned comment for an industry cheap and industry best value. $3.99. Like, subscribe, and follow JE. And as we look at the Bitcoin price, we can see if we zoom in to where the moving averages are and update them. Get that out of there. The moving averages, the 50 is sitting at 98,685.21, running parallel. The 100-day moving average is at 93,100 and change, running parallel, and the 200-day is running parallel at 83,581 and 60 cents. And you can see we're trying to form this double top or M topping reversal pattern here at the top. We'll go to the full screen for the beautiful audience. And you can see where you have what looks like a double top, which is an M topping reversal pattern when it draws out, but it's just a double top at about $109,000, just breaching the old high from back here. And we're below the 50-day moving average at 98,685. And we're starting to consolidate back down after we had that big dump on Saturday night through Sunday across the board in the markets and the coins. And you can see we're trading sideways in an up and down jagged fashion, but we're below that 98,685, which is the 50-day moving average. And I do think we're going to continue to trade sideways like this and end up coming to a double bottom and a local triple bottom or even a quadruple bottom. If you look at the low that was right next to that, sitting there on February the 9th at about 91,000 and change, a wick bottom on the 13th of 89,000, a wick bottom at about 91,000, right near that 100-day moving average in the daily time frame. And I think that's where you're coming to next. And then you're going to have to hold that, because if you break that 90,000 where you wick down on this major support level, I think you would come down to the 200-day moving average over there in the daily time frame. And if we look at the weekly time frame, we're trying to see, after we had a double top back here during the COVID bull run, and then the mountain double top, or you could call it an M topping reversal pattern, because a double top draws an M out. Could we potentially be having a head and shoulders here in the weekly time frame, where you have a left shoulder where you started the pump, this most recent pump with the Donald Trump news and the election starting back in November, your neckline sitting down there at about 57,000. Then we form a right shoulder, and if that is the case, the point of a breakout over the coming 6 months would bring you down there to 32,000 and change, which wouldn't be out of the ordinary for Bitcoin, having a 60%, 50%, 70% correction. Or is this just another consolidation, and then we're going to pump to the upside? But you can see what's different here. After we had this big run, we had a down and sideways consolidation, which was a bull flag, and then it broke out to the upside. But if you notice the consolidation we're having after this last pump, we had that last pump, and we're sort of forming an up and sideways consolidation with falling volume. That's usually more bearish and indicating some short to medium term downside pressure. So that's what we're going to watch out for Bitcoin. If you break up to the upside, you would go to 122,000. So we're going to continue to watch that. Bitcoin dominance has been spiking, and the volume pumping into Bitcoin has been increasing. And you can see we're up at 61.85% dominance. And since we've had this most recent rally in Bitcoin dominance right here, this most recent rally right there, we've had bearish action in the altcoins, because when Bitcoin dominance is rising like it's been since about the mid-December, with a couple of corrections, like we had a correction right here where the altcoins got the rally. But other than that, it's been pretty consistently up. The altcoins sell off, and you go into sort of bearish action. If we look at XLM, and then we're going to have an altcoin video come out after this for you. So this is your Bitcoin dominance, XRP, and XLM, and AMP. And then we'll have an altcoin video. And you can see XLM we've been targeting, and you can notice still the moving averages in the daily. The 50 is now trending down considerably, down to $39 or 39 cents and change, 39 and a quarter cents. The 100-day is trending down to 35 slightly, and the 200-day is running parallel, but will start to run sideways to down if we don't change. And then in the future, we could be threatening, we don't want Fubu TV or whatever that was. You could potentially in about 7 to 14 days have a bearish cross from the 50-day moving average dipping underneath the 100-day medium-term moving average, and that would be a bearish cross. And as long as we've been below this 43 cents, we've been telling you ever since back here that if you get below 43 cents, we're bearish. And we started getting short to medium-term bearish in here, and then we had a nice correction to the 50, and then we formed this 43-cent line that was major support and resistance. And that's when we said if you're above that and can hold it, you're bullish, short to medium term. If you're below it, you're bearish, short to medium term. And if we continue to look at the localized price action, what leads me to believe that the moving average is starting to change here, starting to go down. I think we could see the next leg to the downside, and the next leg to the downside could be something like we've seen here, where we had this and a nice fall, this and a nice fall. We could be doing this, and the next fall would get you down here and fulfill that wick bottom that we had, where we had the big buyback very quickly with the wick. You're coming back down potentially to that 27 cents. And then if we get that bearish cross from the red 50 coming through and getting underneath in the daily time frame, the blue or the 100-day moving average, we could potentially come down to a regional low, down to 16 cents. Not to say that that's going to happen, but I'm fairly confident. And this is where I think the next major move's coming. We're coming down to 27 cents before, what I mean by that, breaking and sustaining over 43 cents. I think we're coming to 27. Then we'll have a little bounce back, and then potentially we could come down to that 16 cents. XRP, you know what we've been following here is a head and shoulders topping reversal pattern in the daily time frame, and we got major validity when we form now the right side of the head. You see this? We'll make that a little bit smaller. See, we'll make it number 2. See that? We have a well-defined right shoulder right there. I hate how it always goes back to the color. We have a well-defined, get rid of that, delete that, delete that. We have a well-defined right shoulder here. And then we were speculating the head there. And now you can see the head has come all the way down almost to the neckline. And the neckline's down here at $2.05. So before we get a substantial bounce, it's probably and more than probable and likely that we're going to dip back down, and not just a wick bottom. We're going to take full candle bodies in the daily and ride that neckline just like we did here, potentially for a couple of days over here, and then try to form a right shoulder. And if that is the case, that adds more validity that this is a head and shoulders short to medium term topping out reversal pattern, and a targeted move would be down here at about $1.30. If you want to invalidate that and get bullish in the short to medium term, you would have to do a lot of work, because you can see in XRP, we're even trending down. We're going to move this over. The 50-day moving average is now accelerating to the downside, down to 258. The 100-day is running parallel, but in a couple of days, it's going to turn and be negative trending. It's at 216, and the same thing with the 200-day moving average. It's going to, in the next 5 or 6 days to a week, it's going to start, if the price action continues, it's going to look like that and start to trend to the downside, right? And if we trend to the downside, you know what's happening with the right shoulder. But if you want to invalidate all that and just kind of push that away, you would have to take the price and have to do some major work. You'd have to get some support, get on top of this 256, and then hold and confirm above the 50-day moving average and start to break up towards its most recent regional high, right? And that's what we're going to have to watch out for. But if you notice the buy and sell volume, ever since we had the great pump during the Donald Trump post-election right there, it's been straight down with the mean and the daily candlesticks, and the only other miniature surge in volume, like a middle finger sitting there, J in between it, was a major sell volume that caused greater than a 30 or 40, might have even been a 50% flash crash, I'm going to call it, from in a matter of about 2 days, sitting here when we were at near 3 days. We were sitting up here at about 308, and we wicked all the way down 42.52% between Saturday night and mid to late afternoon on Sunday. Before Monday, we had the great buyback, and now we've been consolidating back down ever since. So that's what we're watching out for there. And AMP continues to be bearish. And if we break an AMP, and these moving averages are extremely moving down, and this thing is going to have a bearish cross in the next 4 to 6 days, where the 50 right there at 0.00720 will cross the following 100-day moving average at 0.0685, and instead of being on top of it, it'll be below it. And the 200-day is gonna, in about 3 to 5 days, gonna start trending down, maybe 7 days. And if we can't get the buyers to come back in and this trend continues, we're breaking down, and we could break down in a pretty good fashion and come all the way back down near this 0.0034. Like, subscribe, and share. Peace and love, Jay.